Welcome back. Sansum Diabetes Research Institute is a local nonprofit focused on improving the lives of those who are affected by diabetes.
That's right. We're joined by world-renowned pediatric endocrinologist, advisor at SDRI, and Professor Dr. Francine Kaufman, who has worked in diabetes care for almost 40 years.
Well, actually, over 40 years.
Over 40 years,
yeah.
Excuse me, sorry. That is remarkable work that you have done. Well, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. You do remarkable work here at home and even down in Los Angeles County as well. So first, let's start with the basics. What is type 1 diabetes, and how does it differ from type 2?
So type 1 often occurs in children, very young children, after the age of 1. And it's really an autoimmune disorder where the body's immune system, which is supposed to fight off infection, actually goes in and destroys the insulin-producing tissue of the pancreas. So those individuals must take insulin every day.
So insulin every day for those individuals. Let's talk about early detection. That is
Right.
required through early screening. How does that work, and what do you recommend for people?
So we've been in the screening era for about a decade already, and what we know is that we can detect somebody who is going to get most likely diabetes, type 1 diabetes, by looking for antibodies against their own pancreatic tissue that makes insulin. And then once we see those antibodies, we know the progression will occur, and we now have something where we can intervene and delay the onset of diabetes by 2 to 3 years. So rather than get it at age 5, maybe you get it at age 8 or even later. So we have an intervention, we have a way to screen, and we know when we do screen, we might be able to delay the onset of this disease. And we can also prevent them showing up really sick. So they know they're at risk and they come in, really, we could do it all as an outpatient now.
Yeah, it's great. So you can screen before symptoms even arise.
Right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the symptoms are?
So the symptoms are you are starting to have an elevation of glucose, blood sugar, and that makes you urinate too much because the kidney spills that sugar out, it brings the water with it, so then you get thirsty. Then you start to lose weight because you're not able to use your calories correctly. And this is signs of insulin deficiency in the body, and you know, if we let it progress too long, you can get very sick and acid can build up and you end up in an ICU. So we want to prevent that. We want to know who's at risk. We want to look at asymptomatic healthy children, particularly those related to somebody with type 1 diabetes, and now we're really looking to go into the general population as well.
You mentioned that early detection, giving you that window of time. What goes on in that window to kind of delay the onset?
So the first drug that's been approved by the FDA, called Tzield, actually is an immune modulator that takes some of the cells that are busy destroying this insulin-producing tissue and quiets them, so that there is a greater delay. And there's many other drugs in the pipeline coming through as well, through huge NIH studies that have been going on for decades.
Are there a few treatments that you can tell us about?
Well, the only one that we have approved right now is Tzield, but there's still many research protocols that are open that people can perhaps get into and use a drug that's not approved but in the research arena. But we just want people to be aware of type 1 diabetes, particularly in children, be aware of the symptoms, and so that if they are not screened, they come in early before they actually are sick.
And like you mentioned, this impacts children and families in such a personal way. What would you say to parents who are maybe unsure if they should be screening? What message do you have for those parents
Well,
today?
I think screening is going to be an increasing part of our lives and an increasing way to delay and prevent disease. So if we're able to do it, why not? You know, and if you do find out you're at risk, then there is something to consider putting your child on or yourself. And why not try to delay a disease that we know really impacts life over the long term?
Absolutely. Great to be proactive by all means. Thank you so much for all the remarkable work you do.
Thank you.
You've done for 40 years and continue to do. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We really do appreciate that.
And the Sansum right here in Santa Barbara has really made a huge contribution over these decades to research, to our understanding of diabetes, and take care of people in Santa Barbara themselves. So the Sansum Diabetes Research Institute is an amazing resource for all of you.
Absolutely, and it's in our backyard.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. For more information, visit sansum.org. Dr. Kaufman, thank you so much again for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.